Welcome to another edition to Talking with WIT Kevin and Son. Today's guest is a published author, digital marketing manager, a seasoned business consultant, and the guiding light of a space that we want to talk about is AI. Our guest will offer a comprehensive view of AI through her course, a one-on-one course of consultancy services, guiding individuals and organizations through the intricacies, I can't even say the word, of AI. Our guest said that her guidance and her clients will gain confidence to embrace AI as a transformative force, enhancing their operations and marketing strategies and funding opportunities. Now, I'm not an expert, and I have my questions regarding this technology and humanity. That is why I like to welcome our guest, our expert AI person, Larnez Kinsey, to the show to talk about the pros and cons of AI. But before I go, I have to do the business. This episode is brought to you by RMK Productions and the 10 United Podcast Network. Our mission is through the power of our stories to uplift our voices, inspire, share experiences and perspectives using the framework of teaching, learning, and modeling. Our purpose is very simple: hope, helping other people every single day. And with that said, I want you to stick around and listen to the pros and cons of AI. And if you stay around long enough to the end of the show, you'll figure out how AI will be applied to your life if you're not using it already. So, to the world, I welcome Ms. Larnez Kinsey, our expert in AI. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. How are you?
Thank you. And thank you for coming on the show. I have been trying to get someone to come on here and talk about AI for the longest. Everyone wants to talk about it, but no one wants to come on camera to talk about it. So I deeply appreciate you for showing up. I have a lot of friends that are in the entertainment business that have been struggling with the SAG and after strike, or the writers' strike, and some of them are being replaced by AI. We'll have these conversations. But before we talk about the pros and cons of AI, I'd like for you to answer me this. As humans, do we need artificial intelligence?
So before I answer that question, I want to correct my title because I am not, and I will not claim AI expert, right?
All right.
I am 95% proficient as using artificial intelligence, and I am very proficient at seeing the potential of AI and the potential of human behavior. So
Well,
I'll
let me say this, since you're correcting me. I am 96% ineffective in understanding what AI is and how we utilize it. Even though I know AI has been around since 1951, I said nowadays most of us understand a little bit about AI because we have used Alexa and Siri. The automobile factory has introduced AI years ago because it's become automated. Our healthcare system has been touched by AI. Scientists claims that AI has the power to make massive improvements, not only to the quality of our life, but not to say make it perfect, which that is another question. But again, if I ask the question, as human beings, do we need artificial intelligence?
Absolutely. We don't need it, but it makes life a little easier. It's not a
Uh,
need. It's not a need. Right now, I feel like AI is being pushed to be a crutch to human creativity. Because when we start to use AI as a crutch, right? If you're 7 right now and you're exposed to AI, you don't know about the information ecology. You don't know what it feels like to go into a library and stay there for days and hours reading and gaining knowledge for you to get one sentence out of the 50th book in the third chapter. that you read, right? That time, that dedication, that hunger. These children who adapt AI as we speak are collapsing the information ecology that we live in currently.
I'm glad that you presented that way, because it gives me a different point of view. And I've made myself some notes on basically the pros. And you can add to these. I'm an author. All right. Most authors have an editor. Um, so what I understand, AI will allow fewer errors. All right. It will not feed in your distractions. So you don't have people sitting there while they're working. They're supposed to be productive, texting or doing whatever shopping they do on the internet. And I know AI is not a human being, but um, we have to teach it not to be perfect or to correct things. I saw also one of the pros that someone told me about AI is that AI doesn't need a vacation, doesn't need time off. It will work 24/7. It'll work holidays. It does not need a 5-hour energy drink in order to keep going. It'll work 365 days a year without an excuse. Never ask for a promotion or a raise. AI will be consistent. The other thing is, and I look this way, is AI, from what they say, is profitable. It makes the financial market more with the data that it will collect to make it more predictable and to be able to follow waves or trends in order for people to profit. Now, when I look at that as a pro, the only people that I know is going to benefit those are those people in the financial industry. AI also becomes what they say is a pro, a better employee. Does not talk back, does not report you to AR. There's no downtime. They don't get COVID or any of the other things. And I lead this into what I said the pros were. It leans itself more to benefiting Big Brother business people. Also, AI will allow you to collect data or analyze data at a much faster rate than a human being. A human being, from what I've been, can only ingest about 10,000 lines of data in a week, where AI can do that in a day. So these are my pros. So let's talk about the benefits of AI as far as you know it, not as an expert, but someone that is teaching the 101 or the basics of AI as a consultant. So tell me the benefits, the pros.
So the benefits of AI, if you're able to adapt it as a tool that it is, can definitely enhance the speed of whatever you want to prompt.
Give me
And
an
the,
example.
and let me just go a little bit deeper. The reason why I say prompt and not the words create, because earlier this year, a judge made a judgment and said that anything created using AI cannot be copyrighted.
Why?
Right? That was the law that's there. It cannot be copywritten. Anything used to make, and I don't want to say create, but create and you monetize off of it, it cannot be copywritten. So that means it's a free for all. So what does that mean?
No,
Right?
I do have a question, because
Mhm.
you and I have talked off camera about using AI in order to do audibles, take authors' literature and make it easier by recording a sentence or two of your voice and dumping it into AI. So now you lose the copyrights to not only the manuscript, but to your voice.
You use the copyrights to your voice. So, meaning you can go to one company and they pay you for your voice and to replicate your voice moving forward in the future, but anybody can do the same thing, right? How do we protect that space? The way that we protect that space, because we are in the cybernetic ecology and we live a surveillance life, a law has to be in place. The government needs to come in and protect its citizen, because the Constitution says it's here to protect individuals that can read and write. And it falls off to that. So now, if you can replicate my image right? Or you can replicate my speech or my voice without me knowing, and you're monetizing it. I feel like you took a piece of me, right? And I can't control it because there's no laws. So there has to be a law for Cognitive Integrity Protection Act in the cybernetic ecology where we live, because AI is collapsing the information ecology.
So at one point, AI makes it simpler or easy to adapt information, but the con to that, it complicates the logistics of being able to compensate or be compensated for the freedom of convenience. Did I say that right?
You did, but it's AI gave the power. So we talk off camera about you trying to record your voice, right? And it
Yeah.
didn't sound like you. The reason why it didn't fully sound like you and you still have to edit and tweak is because AI is not familiar with your voice. Once it's familiar with your voice and it hears your voice more often and you do the tweak so it sounds more like you, it can definitely duplicate that voice. But what we don't understand is we're in constant surveillance. So when you go to Target and you happen to be walking past the electronic area, in between the signs all over Target, there's Bluetooth visual and audio. So you might stand in front of a 60-inch TV and you might smile and you might be aroused like you like it, right? But you don't know you're aroused. You're just walking through the store. But the Bluetooth picks that up. And what it does is it sends that message to your phone. And then you go home later on that night and you see an advertisement for a big screen TV. So we're constantly being surveillance. It's like, you don't have a private space. So who is supposed to protect that private space? We think we're in control, but unless there's laws to protect the citizens of the United States, it's going to be very messy.
So we are constantly being programmed without even knowing that we're being programmed by AI. And because we allowed Siri and Alexa.
Well, we're not being programmed by AI, right? Because without actual intelligence, there's no artificial intelligence, right? But the creative space, the human perspective, right? Let me just go into movies, right? This is the easiest way for me to explain it. You can't replace directors, right? You can't replace writers because they give you human perspective. And regardless of how much AI can hold, right? Regardless of how much input and data about our history AI can hold, it will never give us a human perspective, right? So we've only had electricity for about 100 years, right? So at 100 years of having electricity, you think our cap for intelligence is AI? That's our cap. No. We've been millions of years with fire, and look where we are now. But 100 years with electricity and AI is the cap. It's sort of kind of like when you're in a greenhouse, right? In a greenhouse, it's an environment that you put the things into it that makes the plant grow. You can introduce pests and you can introduce different things into the ecology of that greenhouse. But AI is from the foundation because it came from humans, right? So AI is like fungus, right? It's gonna touch everything in that greenhouse, right? And how it affects it, it still comes from the base. It still comes from the original foundation of what holds it together. So I'm going to go back to the question where you asked, do we need AI? We don't need AI to be humans, but it makes it, we can use it as a tool to enhance our experiences.
All right. So the question I actually asked you is that do humans need AI? But I will say this: when we talk about electricity, the caveman that got struck down by lightning discovered electricity way before 100 years ago. But anyway,
But we started using it.
yeah, give me 5 pros on the benefits of AI, real quick.
AI, one pro is it can make the underserved, the overemployed, the overvalued individual if you use it properly. Number one. Number two, if you have any businesses, ideas that you want to bring to life in reality, it will definitely orchestrate the steps that you need to take from past experiences, right? From human behavior. So just like you are very successful and I want to be someone like you. So I read your story and I take your techniques and I apply it to my life and see where it fits in. AI will show you these techniques. Now, if you have the momentum to adapt them properly, then you can push forward. AI is kind of like the cheat code. You want to do anything? Oh, I know how to do that. Let me give you the steps. But you still have to put human behavior at play. It's not the go-to answers. If everyone goes to AI, and I know I'm veering off a little bit, if everybody goes to AI, right, and AI is the answers for all, right? How do I truly know that this is a human perspective? I can't. I can't figure it out.
Well, believe it or not, the reason why we have gotten automation has become the forefront of conversation and profit are for 2 things. One, if I don't have to pay an employee, I don't have to pay benefits and so forth, so it's more profitable. The other, AI, is because most of us, and I don't want to offend anyone, we're lazy. All right. AI doesn't get tired. It doesn't get sick or whatever. I said this early on. So that's the reason why I asked the question: does human beings need AI? And the benefit to AI, from what I made my notes to, AI is going to be only profitable to the people that are already making a profit, and the people that are showing up trading hours for dollars. Sooner or later, there'll be no hours to show up for, so it means no dollars. And so my concern in questioning AI, when I ask about the pros and cons, is that, I have people that don't have an advanced degree like you, or people that don't have the world experience or the experience within technology in order to keep up. There are people out there that are functioning in life that are illiterate. From my point of view, AI may erase those people from existence. We've seen movies play out, Wally. We saw Will Smith be cloned in a movie and end up having to fight variations of himself through technology. Now, I'm one to say that perspective is based on your reality, but when someone can create that in a movie script, believe it or not, that technology sooner or later will be able to teach its own self in order to exist without man.
Well, no, I disagree. I totally disagree because within the movie aspect of it, right? Like I said, you cannot replace Martin Scorsese. You cannot replace Spike Lee. You cannot replace Toni Morrison as a writer. You cannot replace these individuals. They gave you human perspective. So even if AI is able to replicate, right? It's like when you have text to image, right? those are thousands of different images that the keystroke of a human made, right? It's not, again, it's not your creation. It took several people to make that image that you were able to speak with your words.
But this is what I'm going to say. You know, every entrepreneur has a vision, and that vision is what they have put into reality in order for them to gain whatever access they have in this world to have the position. So when you talk about AI is a tool that can be taught, you can't create emotion for AI, but I study human behavior. So everyone has a predictable pattern in the way that they respond to someone. And AI is taking in data. So it means that if I can create, and there's a movie coming out where some little kid is AI and he's been protected by human beings because, yeah, is that technology does exist. So in the event that you can actually clone someone else in order to think and act like you, to the naked eye, someone that doesn't know you, if you are a virtual version of yourself and AI has erased the original person and now you're in present, and I'm talking sci-fi right now, most people won't be able to tell. I mean, right now, the biggest thing is in the automobile industry, they no longer talk about the performance of a car. They never talk about the car. They talk about the car being driven by itself. When I say people are lazy, you're too lazy to pay attention to the road and put your hands on the steering wheel, but you'll let a car guide it by itself. Well, we also know that someone runs in front of a car and gets beyond that sensor, it still gets hit. That car does not have an emotion to understand that it is taking out an animal, a human being, or driven off the side of a bridge because it's been programmed to guide. There's always going to be a glitch, or someone's going to plant a virus inside of AI that's going to complicate it. That's the reason why myself, I have all these questions. So, I'm more on the con side than the pros, but when we talk off camera, you say there's a lot of benefits that we have. And so, AI lacks creativity.
So AI will, regardless of AI is able to duplicate you, are you understanding that it's Pinocchio? It can, so without a cognitive integrity protection act, absolutely. It opens a window for everyone to get scammed. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. But it doesn't replace a human. It can never replace a human because it does not have human perspective. If you're playing tennis with the wall and the ball bounced back and you're playing tennis for maybe 30 minutes, were you playing tennis with a person or by yourself? The wall doesn't breathe. You can't make the wall have life.
But see, this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to be the devil's advocate. I'm speaking for the people that are not in a position to speak for themselves or don't understand this technology. But you already said there needs to be a protection act in order for this to be governed by it. But I've said this before, and I'll say it publicly. Either side of the table, when it comes to our government itself, all right, who protects us from the government? I personally will say, go on and say, if you want to know what the original gangster looks like, go to the White House. All right. So if AI is being governed by someone that's only sitting in a seat for power and profit, how do we, again, as human beings, how do we benefit from that? So again, I'm still looking for the pros. The cons are there.
The pros are, if you were struggling with the steps because you don't have time, this will give you the steps to do what you want to do, but you still have to have momentum. You still have to deep dive. You still have to do things. It's not like Google, and Google is a form of AI too. It's not like, oh, I can ask the question and I'm going to take the answers from the question for what it is. No, you still have to put in work. It does help make that haystack smaller when you're discovering the needle. It does do that. It gives you back time. It's a tool to give you back your time. And I know I'm an older person. and time is important to me, and where I spend my time is important. So when I got bit with the AI bug about a year ago, that was super important to me. So anything that can reduce the time I put into a task, I'm good at that. But for me, I'm older already. The older you are, the easier it is for you to integrate AI in your life. And people fail to realize that. They think the older I am, the harder it will be for me to learn. But these large language models that we have right now, it's easy for you to integrate. And I say easy because it's like speaking. Once you know the rhythm on how to speak to a person, you got a cheat code. You kind of know how to deal with them. And that's the same thing when it comes to this technology. Now, as far as our young people, we definitely need to come together because the Constitution is there for a reason, right? It's to protect the people who can read and write. And that's just a piece of it, right? So if you're telling us that we can bear arms and we can have guns to protect ourselves, why wouldn't you help us protect ourselves from things that cognitive thinking? Why
But
wouldn't you?
all right, but I'm going to say, at least from my term and understanding the Constitution, the analogy that we're using is just way off base when it connects with AI. Because when you understand what the amendment for us to bear arms wasn't designed for AI. Well, what I will say is that, and my question is, because I'm still looking for pros, is that we have been listening to you. I believe we have been pre-programmed to allow AI to be easier or more palatable for us to accept from the time that we entered the remote world. We can sit 4 feet from a television, and it used to be we had 3 channels, and we get up and we'll turn the knob to ABC, CBS, and NBC. And then all of a sudden, what happened? We introduced cable. Well, we got a couple more channels, and now we have a remote control. So we can be standing right by the television and can't find the remote, but we won't turn the knob because we'd rather use the remote. And I think we've all been pre-programmed for the things that we're using. And then what happened is that we no longer wanted to be tethered to a phone, to our house. We wanted to be mobile. So what happened years ago? Someone in Chicago created the cell phone. And all of a sudden, look at it now. We went from this big old army-style walkie-talkie that we can now call a cell phone, these little portable computers or laptops that we have access to the world, walking around in our purse and pocketbooks. So when I talk about not feeding your distractions, I always say that little cell phone, and you look at the average American, go to any health club. Someone will show there and pay $200 a month for a membership and spend 30 minutes of their 45-minute workout scrolling the internet, texting on the phone instead of doing what they showed up for. You can't get a person, I would say 75%, and that's low, that every single person walking the streets of New York has a cell phone out in their hand, looking down. They never see the person walking around. So saying hello is a art that's been lost. So when I still look for the pros, the one thing that I hear from you is convenience. So let's give AI that. It makes it easier for us to access data at a more rapid rate. Correct?
Correct.
What would be the next pro?
It helps you gift wrap the message that you want to deliver to your audience and make sure it's tangible to them.
So me as a public speaker, they no longer need me. We can do what they did with Michael Jackson with The One and put a hologram of me up and talking about the power of my words and the actions behind it and replace me altogether. So now I'm
incorrect because you have human perspective. And just as quotes hit you differently, a computer cannot generate your human perspective. They can use history. If we're in a society where we're going to live in history and not create history, fine. AI is the go-to. Because if you want to live in history, and a lot of us do want to live in our history, that's a safe place for you. But if you want to, go ahead.
I was going to say, we talked about this earlier. My vision of talking about history is like, you want to relive history, figure out a way to make profit from it, and history will change. Remember I said about the Confederate flag?
Mm-hmm.
As soon as Black people started manufacturing the Confederate flag, we don't have to get rid of it. We have to produce it, let them buy their own product. And when they find out it's us that's manufacturing it, people will stop buying Confederate flags because they don't know where it's coming from. I'm not a patriot, so let's talk about this. Potential of AI is to reduce employment, like in assembling cars, making it easy for people that would put like our cell phones together and put things like toys together, packaging and whatever. AI can now do that. That's a positive for Big Brother, the owners of the company. But, I look at the fact that, I'm not happy with Amazon or Prime or whoever, UPS, the way they deliver my services. But if AI can put a drone that'll put it on my doorstep instead of in a driveway, I'm a big fan of the delivery service of AI. I'm not a big fan of what I've seen on YouTube and other places where AI has been delivering food and getting mobbed and robbed before they got to the doorstep. So AI is good for employment, yes or no?
Yes and no, because I can be the most valuable employee if I adapt this tool, right? Because I can use it to my advantages in my discipline. So absolutely, it's a wonderful tool, but it will never have a heartbeat. It will never have a nervous system. It will never be able to operate in a creative continuum, which we do.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are scared because of what we're fed, which is the Terminator, which is RoboCop, right? Which is the fear that a robot that looks like me, reacts like me, can be me. And like I said, without a protection act in play, it is an opportunity for people to scam. And you use the word lazy, and Kevin, I know you know that I don't like the word lazy, because to me, lazy just means you want to do minimal effort and get maximum results. So I don't necessarily look at lazy as being a bad thing, because if you look at hackers, hackers are lazy, right? Hackers look for any way, any little piece of information where I can do the least amount of work and get the maximum result without doing the traditional job. Right. So I say that to say, AI has been around and been monitoring and collecting our data since 2008. Unbeknownst to us, facial expressions, movement, that's troubling to me, because now I know that there's patents that are out to change my behavior into cryptocurrency, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that, I'm not able to detect it's happening. That's a concern to me. So if I can't go to my government to protect this, who can I go to? Who? That's a question for you, Kevin.
Oh, I was going to say, because I'm going to answer that again. I'm not a big fan of politics because, again, their agenda does not serve my agenda in order to unite and bring people together. Their agenda is for profit, is to create a system that the people that have, they create a system for those that have to have more. There's not necessarily it's going to be control. When you use the conversation, when I say lazy, and you use the analogy of people that are hacking based on perception and interpretation, someone that spends that much time trying to create a system that's already been created and trying to create a system to their best benefit, that's not crazy. That's work. What I talk about is the people that show up every single day and ask you for a hand and then expect you to haul them around for the rest of your life. I call it the way I see it. There are some people that just are not productive individuals, but they expect the world. They talk about what they want to do. They go out and say, I wish I could have, and whatever. And even if they have a job, they complain about the paycheck they have. They don't realize that without that job, they wouldn't have anything to complain about because they wouldn't have a paycheck. When I talk about lazy, is that when you do not add value to your community, your family, or a service that provides better lifestyle for someone else, and you just sit around waiting for life to come to you. That's what I mean by lazy. If I offended anyone by the comment that I'm saying, I'm going to say I only offended the person that I'm talking the truth to. So, I see the benefits on one hand of AI because it does allow you to acquire data. Now, the benefit to me is that, I make investments. If AI is going to help smarter choices and I can profit from that and whatever, I am going to be one of those people that I'm going to be on the upside of AI. But my conversation, my platform is to protect and unite the people that are not in the same position I'm in. Because I used to be in the position that I complain about. I used to be dirt poor. All right. And that's where I'm saying that one is that, this will segue into the next question, to prevent AI to be a dominant force and controlling force of not only my lifestyle or humanity itself. What resources or what things should I be adapting to get ahead of AI until AI becomes a part of our life? Do I need to go back to school? Do I need to be
Absolutely
certified in
not.
something? What do I need to do?
Absolutely not. You need to be yourself. You're a human. It's human behavior. All AI does is mirror human behavior. So your perspective is always going to be different. Yes, if you want a cookie cutter answer to things, go to ChatGPT and ask. They're going to give you a cookie cutter answer. Even if you combine personas, it's still going to give you it's going to be an amazing answer. You're going to be like, wow, I could never have thought of this. But in all actuality, you could have thought something way beyond that. But it satisfies the task at hand.
Is AI going to be gender specific? And
No.
the reason why I asked that, because we got a label and everything. And I think my personal thing is that we just need to communicate and be able to know each other by name and can care less about the labels that's attached to it. I just want to know how AI is going to differ for you, me, or anybody else, and how we want to be identified. How's AI going to be able to adjust to humanity that way?
So AI will never understand your importance as an individual. It will never, it doesn't have that awareness. Again, it's not a human. It will never be a human. There is no artificial intelligence without actual intelligence, which is human perspective. It will never have that. If you sit in a room with a computer brain and it's attached to a modem and a PC, and you see it thinking and it's doing everything it needs to do and it's giving you data and it's responding to you. Is it living? Is it a
No.
person? So you can't make Pinocchio real if Pinocchio is Pinocchio. It's smoke and mirrors, right? Artificial intelligence is us living in history. I want to live in human behavior. I don't want to always live in history.
Well, now, since you brought that up, quick question. All right, you said artificial intelligence is living in history. We're currently, as men, some of us are trying to change history, and artificial intelligence is being taught by people that are trying to change history. So, does artificial intelligence discriminate against learning a lie? Does artificial intelligence discriminate against race? Does artificial intelligence can it differ from a woman's right versus what someone has programmed it to be as a woman's right? And does artificial intelligence separates the difference of being kind or hatred in our society?
So, like I said earlier, artificial intelligence mirrors human behavior. So I'm going to reflect to Tesla. When Tesla first came on the road, right? They didn't have a melanated person in its reference of data, right? So when it first went on the road, it could not recognize people with color in their skin. So maybe 2 or 3 people passed away because the car hit them. They couldn't recognize them on the on the road. So I'm going to give you another example. There is a large language model, which is text to art, called Midjourney. And this is just my experience. I was creating art with my words, and I wanted to have a hair pick in one of the afros of the women that I was creating. Right? Midjourney doesn't know what a hair pick is. It didn't know what it was because nobody fed that information. So it can't create anything that it's not familiar with. So I had to actually get a picture of a pick, a hair pick, and put it into the system so it can recognize what a pick was. When I first started playing with Midjourney, just to see if it was racist or not, right? Because again, I'm testing the knowledge that I know from Tesla and AI, right? And this is a new platform. I'm playing with it. So I asked for nurse. It gave me an older white woman. I put in doctor. It gave me an old white-haired man. I put in a firefighter, right? It gave me old white men. When I put in basketball player, they were all black. When I put in thug, it was a Spanish person and a black person, right? So if we choose not to use AI, how are we going to show up? You're training the system to be racist. You're allowing people to put whatever they want to put in there, and you're not making an impression at all.
But see, now you're proving my point when I talk about the pros and cons. AI is only going until it takes over, which I'm going to predict. AI will eventually have its own common sense once we get AI to start connecting emotionally. Wait a minute. You can argue. You can argue.
It cannot. It's not real. It's not a real person.
You just said Tesla had AI because based on what's being fed into them, could not identify a melanated person, so they ran them over. All right. I didn't know this information. But this is the argument that I'm saying, and we can talk about this for the next 3 or 4 days, is that AI will only support the system that's supporting AI. If you and I don't have these conversations, just like, I talk about the uncomfortable conversations you can have with a melanated person, until we start listening and learning, we don't learn. All we do is want to be heard. If AI is only wanting to be heard because of the people that want to establish their position and make AI the voice of the people, then we don't know who AI is actually talking to, just like our Constitution says we are the people, but what people are you talking about? I can do this all day long.
Well, Kevin, we have to intertwine AI within our life because in a cybernetic ecology, it's intertwined. Like I made the greenhouse reference. It's a part of our foundation. It's human behavior, right? And whose human behavior has been controlling us, right? Who?
A system that didn't include. Yep, right. The system. So basically, I think to summarize everything.
Wait, before you go on, that didn't include us. Right. That didn't include us. So now after Tesla hit those people, it had to go back and put us in there. So it didn't happen, right? We are moving from an information ecology to a cybernetic ecology where AI is intertwined in every breath. That's why I made the reference to Target. Those are just some of the surveillance, right? We don't control that. We have to control our imprint in AI. And with doing that, we can intertwine it so we can grow to our full potential as human beings in the cybernetic ecology, because that's what we're moving to. We're living in it currently, but AI is collapsing the information ecology quicker than it needs to be.
Well, this is a conversation we're going to have that's going to last a lot longer than 35, 40 minutes on a podcast. And I'm hoping that we have at least said one or two things that someone has gotten out of here, both the pros and the cons. Um, what I'm taking away, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to let the viewers know what they should take away from this conversation. And mine is, I work with females that are in STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I'm going to say more minorities need to be involved in STEM. So that way, when they're inputting information, the information can come from a source that does include we the people, all the people. The way we get the facts right. Um, I think we should learn our history and not reinvent it based on our personal feelings, but the reality of what history did to bring us to this point and embrace the fact that we are human beings. And I think we're going to have to live with AI, like it or not. I think we're going to have to do a shift where we have to adjust, like it or not. I think there are going to be people that are hugely successful that's going to become more profitable and more successful. I think the middle class, based on technology, will disappear. There are only going to be two classes. The same way the conversations those have, and those have more, and those that want and can't get more. There's going to be the two classes. There are going to be people that are going to be able to work in AI and be able to thrive in AI, and they're going to be great employees, but they will never be part of that upper echelon that where they have and can have more. They will have just enough in order to exist, because that's the way that our foundation is set up. All right, give them just enough not to complain too loudly. They're going to complain, but they're not going to complain loudly. The people that are going to be left behind, the AI is going to affect the most, will not have a voice, because without power, without a position where their voice can be heard, their voice will never be heard. It'll be just a yell and a scream in the dark as you drive past with success. So that's my takeaway from it. So there probably are going to be some positives with AI. It's going to make life convenient. There's going to be positives that make retrieving and access to data a lot more convenient and faster. There are going to be some negatives that's going to question humanity and self in your own position. And we're all going to have to adapt and evolve. So with that said, what would you like people to take away from this interview as far as AI is concerned?
As far as AI is concerned, I don't want people to be scared. Like I said earlier, the older you are, the experiences that you had on this earth are very important for the way you're able to adapt to AI. It's unbeknownst to you, you've been using it since 2008, right? You just hearing about it the past 2 years, but you've been using it for over a half a century, right?
Since 1951, it was introduced.
Right. But I say that to say, if you're able to adapt AI in whatever discipline you may have, right? You are now becoming a overvalued employee. And what happens with overvalued employees? I'm going to hold on tight because I don't want nobody else to get you. Right? So a lot of people think that, oh, yes, we're not going to have jobs. No, this is an opportunity for you to adapt something that you've been doing all your life. I can talk to a computer and my computer now talks to computers for me. That means it speaks a language that I had a literacy gap with, right? So why would I use it to my advantage, right? I can knowingly do this for 10 minutes a day. In 10 minutes a day, I can get better at whatever I'm doing. I tell people this, the most special self-care that I do is literacy, right? I seek knowledge because the people that are around me, I always want to give value to. So when adapting AI into the cybernetic ecology, which we already live in, and we're moving away from the information ecology as we know it, this is a tool you have to adapt to. because we are humans and we're born to adapt. So if you put us in a box, AI is going to say this corner's here, that corner's there, this corner's there, that corner's there, and then it's going to give up. But if it's a human, we're going to adapt. That means we're going to die trying to find a way out. If that's not important, I don't know what is.
All right. All right. So you get it. We gave a lot of information here. And I don't know if people are feeling the one way or the left, but people are probably very impressed by you. How did they get in touch with you?
Instagram, or I have a lot of things going on. So
You have a
Comfort in the
website.
Chaos. Yes. I have a website. My website is aiforEverydayLife.com. You can get my free download there. And it's basically a perspective on how I built myself my freedom back using AI. And you can get in contact with me there because I respond to everyone that's downloads the book. And also Comfort in the Chaos Coaching is my Instagram name. AI for Everyday Life is my Twitter. I'm reachable on all platforms.
All right. And I'm going to have you back on because we're going to talk about your books. And I want to give you a quick plug. Give me the title of your books and where your books are being sold. Speak slowly so people can make some notes. Talk about your books, title of the book, and where we can get your books.
Okay, so the title of my book is Black Girl Magic, the playbook on raising your princess into a confident queen. And right now it's available on koji.com, KOJI.com.
All right. To my listeners, we've covered a lot of information. I don't know if it's right or wrong. Don't hold me to the point that if you're offended by something I said, look in the mirror to see if what I said attaches to you. If it doesn't attach to you, let it go because I'm not talking to you. But if we touched your heart in a certain type of way that allows you to see the world a little different and for you to change, then allow your heart to grow. Allow your social circle to thrive with humanity, not just humans, humanity itself. If you like what you've heard, go to RMK Productions and Network on our YouTube page. If you'd like to be a guest and maybe come on and give another perspective on any of the topics we talk about, relationships, AI, movie industry, as long as you're giving back to the community and we're serving, especially women, because I like to showcase women in business. I love entrepreneurs. I love authors. Then reach out to us at info@RMK Productions at info@rmkproductions.org. Forgot we changed it from net to org. Miss Larnez, I call you Lady L, as Manuel and I both call you. We appreciate you coming in. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're tuned in, this is Larnez Kinsey. She is not an expert in AI, but she does teach a one-on-one course on the intros to AI. And so if the conversation you've heard, you love, you have an opinion, would like to spend a little bit more time with her, go to her Instagram page, which, you can play this back, share this video, or subscribe. Remember, looking for 1,000,001 followers or subscribers. The people that follow RMK Productions are people that have a high call to action. It means they get shit done. So instead of driving by an accident, they stop and help. My grandfather always says, when you get to a point that you can help someone else out, it is your duty to do so. Reach one, teach one. And with that said, we'll fade to black and we're out.